Have you ever been blamed for someone else's abuse? Have you ever been told that you deserved the pain they caused you? That's my story. And today, I'm sharing it with you because I know I'm not alone. If you've ever felt trapped in a toxic cycle, leave a comment below. Let's talk about it. This is the story of my ex-fiancé, a man who abused me, blamed me, and tried to control me even after our engagement ended. It's a story of heartbreak, manipulation, and loss, but also of finding the strength to let go. It all started with what I thought was love. He proposed to me, and for a moment, I thought I had found my forever. I remember the way he looked at me when he got down on one knee. His voice was steady, his eyes locked on mine, and for the first time in a long time, I felt like I was enough. I said yes without hesitation. I thought I was stepping into a life of love and partnership. But just 6 days after the proposal, everything fell apart. I'll never forget that day. It was a simple text I sent him, asking for support. I wasn't trying to argue or fight. I just needed him to be there for me. I wrote, "I'm not arguing. I came to you for support." That's all it said. But instead of understanding, he exploded. He broke off the engagement in a manic episode, blaming me for everything. I was stunned. I couldn't even process what was happening. One moment I was planning a wedding, and the next I was being told that I was the problem, that I was too much, that I was the reason for his outburst. At the time, I was already thousands of dollars deep into uprooting my life to move in with him. I had left behind my apartment, my job, and my stability, all for someone who shattered my world in an instant. That was just the beginning. What followed was a cycle of abuse that I wouldn't wish on anyone. He was emotionally, mentally, verbally, and financially abusive. He knew my deepest traumas, the things I had shared with him in moments of vulnerability, and he used them as weapons against me. He would twist my words, make me doubt myself, and then blame me for the pain he caused. I remember one night, sitting on the floor of my empty apartment, crying so hard I could barely breathe. He called me, and instead of comforting me, he told me to stop whining. He admitted without hesitation that he would probably keep abusing me and acted like I was the one who needed to change. He had this need for control that went beyond anything I had ever experienced. He wanted me to submit to him completely. He even had a kink for humiliation and control, and he made it clear that he expected me to fulfill that. Just the other day, he told me he'd take me back if I apologized and admitted everything was my fault. And the way he said it, with this sick satisfaction, it made my stomach turn. He even got aroused while saying it. Can you imagine? Every time I tried to leave, he found a way to pull me back in. He'd say things like, "See you tomorrow," or "Maybe in 6 months we can try again." He dangled hope in front of me like a carrot, just enough to keep me from walking away completely. He even told me he was keeping me around just in case I changed. It was torment. I felt like I was trapped in a maze with no way out, constantly running in circles, hoping for an exit that never came. This relationship cost me everything. I lost my job because I couldn't focus. I lost my apartment because I had already given it up to move in with him. I lost my mental health, spiraling into anxiety and depression that felt impossible to escape. I even lost a baby. That one still hurts the most. I lost thousands of dollars trying to rebuild my life after he tore it apart. And then there was the embarrassment, the humiliation of having to tell my family that the engagement was over, that the man I had promised to marry wasn't who they thought he was. I lost their respect, their trust, and for a while, even their support. But the hardest part wasn't the money or the job or even the baby. The hardest part was knowing that he didn't feel any remorse. He didn't think he had done anything wrong. He blamed me for everything, and he couldn't even apologize or let me go with kindness. I spent so many nights lying awake, replaying every conversation, every fight, every moment where I thought I could have done something differently. I kept asking myself, what did I do wrong? Why wasn't I enough for him to love me the way I deserved? But the truth is, it was never about me. It was about him, his need for control, his inability to take responsibility, his refusal to see me as a person and not just something he could manipulate. For a long time, I blamed myself. I carried the weight of everything that happened like it was my fault. I thought, maybe I am the problem. Maybe I deserved this because I allowed it to happen. I would sit for hours, replaying every argument, every moment of pain, and I convinced myself that if I had just been better, if I had just done more, maybe he wouldn't have treated me the way he did. I remember sitting in my car one night after another one of his outbursts. I was parked in a grocery store lot, staring at the steering wheel, and I couldn't stop crying. I kept thinking, what's wrong with me? Why can't I make him happy? Why am I not enough? I thought if I could just figure out the right thing to say or do, I could fix it. I could fix us. I carried the guilt like a weight on my chest. It was heavy and it made me feel small. I thought if I had just been quieter, if I had just agreed with him more, if I had just been what he wanted, maybe he wouldn't have hurt me. I thought I was the one who needed to change. I thought I was the one who was broken. But now I know better. I know I'm not deserving of abuse, no matter what mistakes I made. No one deserves to be treated like that. It doesn't matter if I wasn't perfect. It doesn't matter if I made mistakes. Nothing I did justified the way he treated me. The moment of clarity came during one of our last conversations. I had been trying to explain to him how much he had hurt me, how much his words and actions had broken me down. I told him, I will submit to a man who protects me, loves me, and does not abuse me. As soon as those words left my mouth, it hit me like a wave. He was never that man. He never protected me. He never loved me the way I deserved to be loved. He didn't see me as a partner or an equal. He saw me as something to control, something to use. I remember the silence on the other end of the phone after I said those words. He didn't argue. He didn't try to convince me otherwise. He just sat there, quiet, like he knew I had finally seen the truth. And in that moment, I realized I had been holding onto a version of him that didn't exist. I had been holding onto the hope that he could be the man I needed him to be. But he wasn't, and he never would be. That realization was painful, but it was also freeing. For the first time, I saw the truth for what it was. I wasn't losing a man who loved me. I was letting go of someone who never truly cared for me. And in that moment, I started to see my worth again. I started to believe that I deserved better. If you're in a situation like this, please know that you are not alone. You don't deserve abuse, no matter what anyone tells you. It doesn't matter what mistakes you've made or how much you've invested in the relationship. No one has the right to hurt you, control you, or make you feel small. Letting go is hard. I won't lie to you about that. It's one of the hardest things I've ever done. When you've given so much of yourself to someone, it feels like walking away means losing a part of who you are. It feels like giving up on everything you've worked for. But staying will only hurt you more. Staying will only take more from you. Here's what helped me move forward. 1. Block them. This is the first and most important step. No matter how hard it is, cut off all contact. Block their number, block them on social media, and don't let them have access to you. 2. Seek therapy or support groups. You don't have to go through this alone. Find a therapist who can help you process the trauma. 3. Focus on rebuilding your life. Start small. Take it one step at a time. 4. Remind yourself daily that you are worthy of love and respect. Put it on a sticky note and stick it to your mirror. Say it out loud every morning. Letting go isn't easy, but it's worth it. You deserve a life free from abuse. You deserve to be loved for who you are, not controlled or manipulated. I'm still healing and it's not easy. Some days are harder than others. But every day, I remind myself that I deserve better. And so do you. If you've ever been in a toxic relationship, share your story in the comments below. Let's support each other. Let's remind each other that we're not alone. If this story resonated with you, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Together, we can heal. Together, we can find the strength to let go and move forward. Thank you for listening.
Like subscribe.